Hey everybody, Dr. Jeff here with another Regenerative Minute. Today I'm going to talk about the use of placental-derived stem cell products in regenerative medicine. Now these are products that are either stem cells from the umbilical cord, amnion products, exosome products, Wharton's jelly products that can either be added to PRP or used in lieu of PRP. And I want to talk a little about the history, about the FDA compliance, and how we are in the position that we are in here in April of 2022. This question is the question that I probably get asked most often. Probably once a week, I will get a call from one of the providers that I consult with because a rep is in the office promoting a new product. And they'll send me a copy of the brochures and some of the research, and then they'll ask my opinion on whether this is something that they should use in their practice. And so rather than answer it every time, I decided to take some of the advice that Dr. Charles Runnels always says, and says if you are answering the same question over and over again, you should make a video with the answer and have that video live on your website and send people to the video to watch it first before you answer any questions. So that's exactly what I'm doing today. On the right-hand side of the screen, you can see a table that shows the difference between FDA 351 products, which are called biologics, and FDA 361 products, which are called human cell and tissue products, and the difference between those, which I'll go over in a little bit. And on the left-hand side is the FDA document that all of this has come from. This is FDA 21 CFR 1271. This was released in July of 2020 and is a FDA non-binding regulation concerning these products. Now, I think it's important to know the history behind this and how this document came to life. In November of 2017, the FDA released a position statement. And what they were looking at is they were looking at all the new products that were coming into the marketplace that were derived from placental tissue, whether from the placenta itself, amnion, chorion, or from the umbilical cord and things like Wharton's jelly. And they were looking on how these products would be regulated by the FDA. The FDA wanted all of these products to be considered biologics, and they wanted them to go down the 351 product pathway. And so they recommended that they would give the manufacturers 3 years to undergo a phase 4 clinical trial so these products could be FDA approved. This would allow them from November of 2021 from November of 2017 to about January 1st of 2021 in order to get their products approved. During that 3-year period of time, none of the manufacturers were able to complete a phase 4 study. There were some that were working on phase 4 studies, but the studies were never completed. Also at that time, in November of 2020, we were in the middle of COVID. So the FDA did push their new position statement out 6 months, which brought us to May of 2021. And that's when the new regulations would take effect. I was lucky to be on a call with the director of biologics for the FDA, Dr. Peter Marks, early in May of 2021, and I was able to ask some questions, mostly regarding PRP and whether PRP would continue to be legal, whether there would be any FDA bans, whether there would be any FDA restrictions. So we were able to get those questions answered. And in that call, the things that Dr. Marks brought up were the criteria that he thought had to be met in order for a product to be used. And the criteria were that the product would have to be autologous, which means it had to come from the same body. So PRP coming from blood, going into the body, completely legal. Bone marrow aspirate, coming from the patient's own bone marrow, going back in the body, completely legal. Fat derived from liposuction, as long as it wasn't processed, it was completely legal. So it met the autologous criteria. He also said that it had to be homologous, which means it had to go into the same type of tissue. So PRP is essentially everywhere, so it can be injected into the body for several different reasons. It can be used for aesthetics, for sexual health, musculoskeletal system. Bone marrow, obviously it's derived from bone. The orthopedic surgeon, pain management doctors have been using it in joints and in musculoskeletal tissue for a long time. Completely safe, completely within the FDA guidance. And then there was a little question on fat. If the plastic surgeons are using fat and they're taking it out of the belly and they're putting it into the breast or into the buttocks or into the cheeks, that's fat going into fat. So it's homologous. But there were some questions on taking fat and putting it into joints, whether that met the FDA criteria or not. And that's still being debated today as we speak. The last thing they said that were the products had to be minimally manipulated, which means that you could not change the structure of the cells. That platelets are not changed with PRP, bone marrow, stem cells are not changed with that, and fat for the most part is not changed. Fat was used in the past, something called stromal vascular fraction. That's where the fat was broken down with enzymes to release the fat-derived stem cells. The FDA did make a compliance statement several years ago saying that that was more than minimal manipulation, and they found that not to be FDA approved. So that kind of gives us an idea today that in order for these products to be used, they have to meet those three criteria. They have to be autologous, homologous, and minimally manipulated. They also would like to see any product that is derived from placental material undergo a phase 4 clinical trial, which means they would like those to be FDA 351 products. And today, to this date, none have met that criteria. There are no regenerative products that are FDA approved as a 351. If we look at the chart in the upper right-hand corner, it does show the difference between a FDA 351 and an FDA 361 product. The product classes are completely different. 351 products are biologics, where the 361 products are called human cell and tissue products. The FDA approval for the 351, there is no approval for the 361s. The 361s can make no clinical claims, and it's for homologous use only. Potency is not tested in the 350 or in the 361. Purity is not tested in the 361. And the biggest thing is time and expense. To do a phase 4 351 study, it's going to be several $1 million. It's going to be anywhere from 10 to 15 years. But you do get exclusivity in the market for 12 years after the product is approved. So there's a reason to spend that kind of money. So that shows the difference between the products. Now, my opinion, and I will start this out by saying I'm not an attorney. I do not work for the FDA. I'm a physician and physician consultant. I work with a lot of practices. My opinion after listening to Dr. Marks on that call in May of 2021 was that if the product had not undergone phase 4 clinical trials and did not have FDA approval, my feeling is I would not use it. There still are a lot of products that are out there, but Dr. Marks did say that they were not going to govern this anymore. If they got complaints, they were going to turn it over to the medical board. If you've ever been investigated by the medical board, you know that's something that you do not want. You know that it's going to take 2 years out of your life. You may still be able to practice, but it's just a lot of stress for several years jumping through the hoops when you get reported to the medical board. So it's my opinion, and this is what I tell all my doctors, that if the product does not meet the 4 criteria spelled out by Dr. Marks on that call, that it's not autologous, homologous, minimally manipulated, and approved by a phase 4 FDA trial, then I wouldn't use it. My opinion is it's not worth your license. Plus, if you look at what's out there, PRP, bone marrow, microfat are very well investigated. There's been a lot of clinical studies. They are very effective. If you look at PRP alone, there's almost 15,000 articles on PubMed showing the efficacy and showing the use. If you look at things like Wharton's jelly and amnion, there are 381 articles on Wharton's jelly. There are only 71 on the use of amniotic fluid or amniotic tissue to battle musculoskeletal problems. So very few articles and studies showing the efficacy of either one of those products. And so it's my opinion that you should just stick with the tried and true products, PRP, bone marrow, and fat, until one of the manufacturers can get an FDA approved phase 4 study, get approval for their products, and we can see some data that shows that they're efficacious and they work. If you have any questions about the contents of this video, please feel free to reach out to me. I know that there will be some argument about whether these products are legal or not, and I'm not stating whether they're legal. I'm just stating what I tell my practices to do when they are asked to use these products. I do have some practices that are using them, but I think that if you do that, you are putting your license at risk. I have attached a copy of the audio file of Dr. Marks's webinar and interview from May of 2021, as well as a complete transcript of that article for your review. Have a great rest of your week. If you have any questions, please reach out. Have a great day. Bye-bye.